The idea of it is that I love smashing bad guys, right? This could be my career the rest of my life, and I would die with a big old grin on my face. This is a crank and an extremist, whatever. Yeah, well then that makes it even worse that I'm crushing you in this debate, doesn't it, Mark? You know what they say about, you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day, you teach him to fish, well, I don't want to I love doing it, but I want to teach people to fish. I want to give people this knowledge and this ability so that knowledge is good, right? We want to understand how the world works, that's true. We also want to win debates. You need knowledge for that. So I also said to my students, what if somebody says to you, right now the economy is really bad, and so the only thing we can do right now is have the government borrow a lot of money and spend it on a lot of projects. Now, how do you know that's the right thing to do or the wrong thing to do if you don't know? Well, in this case, you have to know some economics, but you could also look at examples when this has been done in the past and what was the outcome. You got to know this stuff if you're going to be able to evaluate these claims. Or we can't have a free market economy because when we had one in the Industrial Revolution, well, the result was everybody worked in terrible conditions and most people had to crawl around seeking worms for sustenance and most people died and all that. And this is kind of the opposite of the truth. But how are you going to know that if you don't know the pertinent? So, in other words, you're going to be a sitting duck for propagandists who will take advantage of your lack of knowledge of history. That's what I'm trying to tell them. And some of them did get this. Now, I hate to break this to you, but there seems to be an agenda at work in the way history is taught in the U.S., and probably in other countries. I have my hands full figuring out what's going on in the U.S. I'm sure it's going on everywhere. But you notice that if you pick up a U.S. history textbook, there's a storyline in there that's pretty clear, right? The storyline is we're all a bunch of helpless boobs, and if it weren't for all these wise U.S. presidents over the years, we'd all be probably dead in a ditch somewhere, or we'd be earning 3 cents an hour, and the iron fist of the private sector would be right in our throats and all that. I mean, then we get this concept, we'd be eating poisoned food, we wouldn't have any art, there would be no scientists anywhere, we'd all be worshiping Thor, like whatever. This is the standard thing, we all got that. Now, the one consolation I draw from the fact that a lot of my students and a lot of typical college students are not, frankly, all that studious is they don't read the textbooks anyway. So, in a way, it's sort of all right. But unfortunately, they do sometimes listen to their professors who are filling their heads with propaganda. But as I say, there's an obvious agenda here. Because what's the conclusion to draw from this? Well, obviously, you need massive government power. You need, because the government is a wonderful servant of yours. It's just looking out for the common good. It's just innocently pursuing the common good. Why would you be suspicious of these people? They're wonderful people. And of course, we need centralized government. We certainly can't allow decentralized government. We can't have people at the local level making decisions. That's terrible. That would lead to slavery. I mean, this over and over and over and over and over and over. They're not very subtle about this. So far, basically, I've been spending my career smashing this version of U.S. history, either in public speaking or in books. Where I really sort of got my start doing this was I had a book in 2004 called The Politically Incorrect Guide to American History. Boy, do I wish I had thought of that title. That is such a brilliant marketing title. The publisher thought of that, I didn't. That is just great. That book sold because that title was so awesome. The Politically Incorrect Guide to American History. Yeah, I want that. Yeah. So I roped in all these Sean Hannity watchers into buying it, without realizing that they were actually buying, the sinister libertarian version. Too late, no refunds. But as Billy mentioned, I have the establishment credentials, and this has helped me because normally they would try to say I'm some crank. Now they try to say he's some crank with establishment credentials. I mean, that at least helps me marginally, like 8% better. But, and as he said, I've always thought, ever since I got into those universities, someday I am going to make them regret that they let me in here. Then I moved to Cambridge, Massachusetts, right, which is full of insane people. And some of them are wonderful and harmless, but others are, I actually met outright commies. Every day in Harvard Square, I met outright commies. Every day you would go to, at that time, the Freshman Union for dinner, and every day the Workers' Vanguard commie newspaper was out there trying to sell newspapers. and they would be arguing about, we need the Bolshevik Revolution to happen here in this country. We need Vladimir Lenin to be, to be reincarnated here in this country. And I would think to myself, my gosh, I mean, how clueless would you have to be? These people were mass murderers. So I would actually try to engage them in discussion. It's this wonderful, naive 18-year-old. Like, some 18-year-old kid is going to persuade a hardcore commie to drop all this stuff. But I used to do, I just couldn't. It's just part of my temperament. I just can't let grotesque errors go unrefuted. I just can't stop myself. And this is part of the reason. Sometimes people will email me articles and say, you got to smash this guy. And if it's a time like right now where I'm getting ready to go on a trip and I have a lot of things going on, I can't even open that email. Because I know I won't have time to do it, and it's going to be eating away at me all day. Like my wife can attest to this. You know, we'll be sitting there at dinner and I'll be suspiciously silent. I'll be just thinking over, I would have said this and this. So I can't even open it. So please today don't do that to me. I can't even open your email. It's not that I'm rude. I just can't do it to myself. So same thing with the commies at Harvard. I can't just let them be. I can't let them stew in their ignorance, because I feel like this is terrible ignorance, and this is ignorance that could lead to all kinds of terrible outcomes. I had a professor who required us to buy our books for his course from Revolution Books. Revolution Books is a store you walk in there, and there's Stalin on the wall. There's Mao, the greatest mass murderer ever, up there on the wall. And I just stood there in my righteous rage as an 18-year-old. There ain't no way I'm buying books from these people. I'll go all around this city if I have to buy from the people who are 10% less communist than these. But the pleasure that I got from going up against these commies is what actually made me drop the idea of being a math major. I was going to be a math major. How different my life would have been. There weren't as many smackdowns. Oh yeah, Fibonacci? Well, you know, stick this in your pipe. So it doesn't really work. So I decided that I wanted to be involved in the world of ideas. And I have not regretted that. I've had a great old time doing it. It's been great. Now, fast forward to today. Today we are living in the midst of a revolution in the transmission of information. An absolute revolution. Some of the people in this room are living testimonies to that revolution. Anybody now can broadcast his ideas to the world. And this is true, by the way, not just of political ideas. It's also true, for example, in music. You don't have to worry about some crummy record company. You can create your own music with relatively minimal investment compared to yesteryear, and you can market it directly to the public. Regular people can produce documentaries and get them out to the public. This is unbelievable. No one could have imagined we'd be living. This is a revolution whose scope makes Gutenberg look like a lazy bum. And we're living right in the heart of it. And so we've got to ask ourselves, wow, I have this potential to get out in front of all these people, and yet I'm letting it pass me by. I'm not starting a blog for some reason. I'm not starting a YouTube channel even though it's free. And even though I have a funny feeling everybody in this room has opinions that are being shared with a lot of people who are hearing them willingly or unwillingly, and that could be shared to a lot more if you just get your camera, aim it at your face, and start talking. And if you can't think of what to talk about, read. And there's Adam back there. He's good. Read stuff. Read worthwhile stuff and just make a video about what you're reading or blog about what you're reading. And this will encourage other people to read or help them in their reading. Whatever. But I mean, there's always something to talk. I mean, one silver lining to the U.S. government being so rotten is we always have something to talk about. What video should I do today? I don't know. Pick one of 10 possibilities. So I was thinking to myself, I actually did some serious soul searching about a year and a half ago. What really is my niche? Okay, I do public speaking and I write books. But where do I fit into this particular part, this revolution that's going on? Where do I fit into that? So I thought, here's where I fit in. Instead of spending all my time griping about these professors who fill these kids' heads with propaganda, you know, that's not really helping anybody. We all know that. And just kind of making it seem like the situation is hopeless and what are we going to do? How is that helping? What if I instead of being a lazy bum myself, what if I just started teaching U.S. history the way I think it should be taught and then just recorded myself doing it? Duh, right? Isn't this the most obvious thing? Like, I could have been doing this years ago. And finally it occurred to me, yeah, that's right, I should do that. And then that'll be great, because I'll get all my frustrations out, right? I'll be a calmer person, because I'll say, look, I said everything I want to say, you know? Let the chips fall where they may. I've done everything I can do. And that was when I got the idea for this libertyclassroom.com. That's basically what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to teach U.S. history. But the bottom line is, knowledge is the most liberating force in the world. I mean, it's what brought us all here. It's not emotion that brought us here. It's a commitment to certain ideas. And ideas don't just fall out of the sky. Ideas have to be transmitted to you by somebody who has made the conscious decision to transmit them. And now we're living at a time that these ideas, these liberating ideas, are getting a bigger hearing than they've ever had. But at the same time, that means that they're under greater attack. Because people, some of the bad guys, appreciate the significance of what we're doing. How dangerous it would be if our ideas began to catch on even more than they already have. So the other side has come back swinging hard. Well, you people are cranked, don't you know? If we didn't have the Federal Reserve, why, we'd have economic instability. You didn't say. But they keep trying to make these sorts of arguments. Well, I mean, if we tried to nullify laws, well, I mean, people would be in concentration camps or something. The federal government never did that to anybody. That's just the states, right? So they're trying to do this. And what I'm trying to do is to equip people with the knowledge that we all need to smack them down. Again, this is not all just about scoring points in debates. But, you know, the fact is we have the most important ideas in the world right now. And we've got to get them out to the public. And what we need to do is be so effective when we debate that people don't forget debates that they saw us in. They say, oh, wow, that guy knew what he was talking about. Because that can be the thing that makes people say, maybe I should look into this further. When you get absolutely steamrolled, people are less likely to say, all right, this guy knows what he's doing. And so what I want to do is I've decided this is my niche. My niche is libertyclassroom.com. What is your niche? That is the question you have to ask yourself, because we can't afford to be just one person, each of us. We don't have the numbers just yet. Each of us has to be like 2 people or 3 people in terms of the knowledge we have and our commitment to the cause. What is my niche? That is the most important question of today. Now go home and answer it. Thank you very much.